Welcome to the GCN Tech Show. This week we've got loads of stuff. There's been loads of new tech this week. We've got new saddles and shoes from Specialized, some new bikes, new wheels, new pedals, new pedal covers as well. Your upgrades, the Bike Vault, and our main talking point, would you buy unbranded Chinese carbon? Now, you know, premium bike frames, carbon ones from the likes of Pinarello and, you know, S-Works and things like that, they can be very expensive. So it can be very tempting when you go online and you see unbranded frames at a fraction of the price. So to gauge how you guys think about this, because we're really interested, I'm going to put a poll in the app. If you click on the screen now, it'll take you through to that and you can vote. Simple, yes or no, would you buy an unbranded Chinese frame? Or it could be from Taiwan, it could be Taiwanese. And I'll reveal the results of that poll next week. But in the meantime, I'm interested to hear what you would do, Manon. Hypothetical situation, if you're in the market for a bike and you don't have a bike at the moment, would you be interested in buying one from, you know, an unbranded one and saving loads of money?
To be honest, I can see why it is so tempting. You go on AliExpress or eBay and there's tons of stuff. But on balance, I don't think I would. But I am open-minded.
Yeah, well, I mean, it certainly feels tempting when you look at the price. But I think there are two different things here, and I just feel it important to make that distinction first. So, firstly, there are counterfeit products. These are fakes that aim to deceive the customer into thinking they're the real thing. Think of it like a fake Gucci handbag or, you know, a fake watch. The difference being that you wouldn't ride either of those two things at 70 kilometers an hour down a mountain. Now, the problem here is that, well, these products are highly illegal, and the criminals that are making them, they are just trying to make a quick buck.
Yeah, with counterfeit goods, there is no incentive to abide by quality control. This is something you should avoid at all costs.
However, there are also legitimate products that aren't fakes, that are of excellent quality, but are unbranded. You know, what about those? Well, having visited bike factories and also been to the Taipei Bike Show and met with Chinese and Taiwanese companies that make carbon fiber frames, it's pretty interesting. So there are lots of companies that you've never heard of that make carbon fiber frames for bike companies that you most definitely have heard of. Now, the quality of these frames is very high and the manufacturing expertise is also very high. And I kind of get, it's a bit of a bugbear of mine this, I get a bit annoyed when people scoff at the idea of frames being made in the Far East as being poor quality, because it's simply not true. Like, the reality is that the manufacturing expertise of carbon fiber bike frames lies mainly in the Far East now. That's where the expertise is and the skilled labor to make these products.
So I guess if you aren't bothered about having a brand on your bike, why not?
It's a good question, and I think, well, in terms of what you're paying for with a premium branded frame, I'd say it's as follows. The first thing is the brand name. Now, riding a bike like a, you know, prestigious brand like a Pinarello or a Colnago, it's a bit like driving a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. It's got a certain amount of status attached to the badge. And, you know, while I think that's cool, I fully appreciate that not everyone's bothered about that, and that's fine. But a badge is often more than just a status symbol. It's also a mark of quality, and you know, it's an insurance against fault and an indemnity for that brand to deliver good customer service should something go wrong. You know, putting your name on something is an endorsement, and it shouldn't be understated. You know, it's a bit like George Foreman putting his name on grills.
Or GCN and our GCN t-shirts and our GCN merch available at the GCN shop.
Yes, Manon, seamless plug that. I can see you're learning well. But the next big thing is the next big distinction is R&D. So the Pinarello F12, great example. It's had a huge amount of R&D invested in it. This isn't just marketing, you know, it's a fact. The most important Pinarello designs of the last few years have largely been the result of an engineer called Dimitris Katsanis. Now, he's a former professional track sprinter, aerospace engineer, and is quite possibly the most important bike designer you've never heard of.
I've heard of him.
Well, obviously you have. I mean, so Katsanis was the sort of main engineer responsible for the Secret Squirrel Club, which created the Olympic Games winning tech for Team GB. So bikes, skin suits, helmets, all that stuff. And having experts like Katsanis perform extensive studies into designing new bikes and objects, with wind tunnel studies, extensive CFD studies, computational fluid dynamics, and also simulation studies to work out the best layups for carbon fibre. That takes a huge amount of investment and time, and that ultimately has to be offset in the price of the final product. Some brands, like Look, have their own factories, whereas other brands will approach contractors of these factories in Taiwan and China and get them to mass produce their frames, and they will work with those factories to upscale production. Now, these factories have world-class expertise when it comes to manufacturing on a mass-produced scale carbon fibre bike frames for other people. The distinction is that their expertise doesn't necessarily lie in the sort of innovation side of things and, computational fluid dynamics and optimizing shapes to be as aerodynamic as possible. That comes from the brands and the bike designers. And you often hear people going, well, if there's like a knockoff frame or a counterfeit frame, they say, oh, well, it's come out the same factory and it was just they made a few extra and then sold them on cheap. This is a fallacy, because these factories have very strict agreements and contracts with the proper bike brands. These relationships are incredibly professional, and they would be in breach of contract were they to do that, and these factories do want repeat business. Fake counterfeit frames are coming from dodgy places elsewhere. In addition to making frames for big brands, a lot of these companies and factories also produce their own unbranded frames. Now, these are often perfectly structurally sound. I mean, the people making them, they know what they're doing, but they lack the refinement and some of the design ideas a bit more cutting edge that you would get on a premium frame. So they're probably not quite as aerodynamically optimized, or they might lack some of the latest kind of, compliance features.
I'd really like to get hold of some of these frames myself and have a really good look at them. I've heard some pretty good things about them, and I think if you're careful and do your research, there can be some really decent ones out there.
Yeah, I would too, to be honest. I think, you guys watching at home, if you'd like to see us do some kind of feature looking in more detail at this and trying to get hold of some stuff, then, give us your suggestions down in the comment section below.
I've also heard some not so good things too, but I think that's the thing. When you buy from an established brand, you know that brand has put a huge effort into making this brand something that everybody can trust. And even if a product does make it to a customer faulty, and it can do, the brand will make sure it rectifies it or replaces it.
Yeah, agreed. And I think also you have to think about the worst case scenario. If you're riding your bike and it fails, and it's not your fault and it was the fault of the bike, it's probably going to be quite a bit easier to get the damages that you're owed from a reputable brand that's public facing, rather than some mysterious seller on eBay or Alibaba.
The classic saying applies: if it looks too good to be true, then it probably is. And while some unbranded carbon frames can be really good quality, I would absolutely always stay clear of counterfeit frames.
Yeah, I mean, you'll often hear things like people going, oh, it's the same mould, it's come out the same factory and all this, and it's not true. There is open mould frames, but they're never the premium top-end frames. They're also exclusive, and the rights to those are owned by the top-end brands. But counterfeit stuff, it's illegal, and there's no incentive for the people making it to make a product that's reliable, because they don't have any intention of answering if the product fails. So it's just best completely avoided. But that said, that there are good products coming out of these places as well. So we want to know what your experiences are of unbranded Chinese products. Have you bought a frame or maybe some wheels perhaps? Let us know in the comments section what your experiences are. And then if this talking point proves popular, then we could do a follow-up next week where we discuss you guys and our viewers' experiences of this, whether it's positive or negative. I think it'd be really interesting to discuss it and find out what people are actually experiencing. Time now for hot tech. Now, despite many of us still being in lockdown, it hasn't quashed the stream of hot tech that's being launched. There's been loads of stuff this week. So first up, new bike from 3T. It's called the 3T Explorer Race Max, and it's an updated version of the original Explorer, which came out in 2016. And at the time when that original Explorer came out, I mean, Connor had one at Aqua Blue. It was like the hottest bike in the world. It was, you know, an aero gravel bike, and it was also made pretty famous by the fact that it kind of was the poster bike for one-by drivetrains, which didn't, well, it divided opinion. But the new updated version is said to be more aero than the previous one, and it's also got massive tyre clearance, up to 61 millimeters now, which with those big fat tyres in, that looks absolutely awesome. But I'm going to stop babbling on about it because Jeremy Powers has done an excellent video going into all the details. Next up, we've got a new Canyon Air Road. No, sorry, not the new Canyon Air Road. I know it still hasn't come out yet. But this one has just got an updated livery, but it looks absolutely awesome. Check this out. Canyon is now selling the Air Road with the Alpecin Phoenix team colours on it, and I think it looks absolutely awesome. Look at that. So now you can basically get Mathieu van der Poel's bike, which is brilliant. And I really like the blue on, well, white and blue looks cool, but the blue on the top tube, nice, looks bob on that. A new saddle and shoes from Specialized now. The Power Mirror Saddle, or S-Works Power Mirror Saddle, retains the same shape and profile of the existing Power Saddle, which, if you're unfamiliar, is a pretty popular short-nosed saddle design. But in place of the usual upper and padding on that saddle, it now has a complex polymer matrix. Now, according to Specialized, I'm going to read this bit out because there's some big words. It's made from a liquid polymer that allows them to tune the saddle, creating the greatest sit bone comfort in a performance saddle that they have ever tested. It's all validated by science, they reckon, and mirror technology is truly the future of body geometry, according to Specialized. Well, it's interesting to see, you know, where this sort of leads, because we've also seen this, which is the Physique Adaptive Saddle that also has a 3D printed upper, which they claim offers, you know, advantages to comfort. And well, it'll be interesting to see if this technology does trickle down into more regular saddles, because at the moment it's pretty pricey. Anyway, Specialized also launched a new pair of shoes this week. The new shoes are the S-Works Vent, and they're said to be a much cooler version than the existing S-Works 7 top of the range shoes from Specialized. And when I say cooler, I literally mean they're like cooler to wear, lower temperature. They haven't like just put a pair of sunglasses on and started skateboarding. They do look rather nice though. I am a sucker for a new bling pair of shoes. And according to Specialized, on a 100-degree day, and I'm assuming they mean Fahrenheit, they're said to be 3 to 4 degrees cooler than the standard S-Works 7 model, which means, well, you know, they're intended for use in really hot conditions or for people with really sweaty feet. Anyway, I think they look cool, and I'd be keen to know what they weigh relative to the other ones as well. It didn't say in the information I received, but yeah, nice looking shoes. Big wheel launch this week in the form of the new 303 Firecrests from Zip. So in case you missed it, Si did a really good video on it, so I'd suggest you go and check this out after you know, watched this one. But the big news is that they're optimized for 28mm tyres, and they're really wide. They've got like an internal width of 25mm. They're tubeless and intended to be run tubeless, and they have hookless rims as well, which is kind of really quite intriguing me quite a lot. Envy have already done this. They brought out a wide hookless rim as well, and this is technology coming over from mountain biking. There are certainly big advantages to it, and these wheels are intended to be run at much lower pressures than you would normally expect to run road wheels. And you know, Envy and Zip both think there's big advantages in rolling resistance to be gained on most surfaces with this. So Well, it'll be interesting to see if this is where the future of wheel tech lies and if other brands all start doing this as well. Next up in hot tech, I've got a cool little gadget for you that I came across. So these are called pocket pedals, and the idea is that you squeeze it like that, open it, and then that slots on to your Shimano SPD or SPD SL pedal, and it turns it temporarily into a flat pedal. And I just think this is quite a neat little simple design idea that would be really useful if you wanted to, say, you know, take your bike somewhere, just nip out to the shops or something, but you don't want to, you know, wear your bike shoes. So, you know, when I was in, you know, Mallorca with my friends, wish I could go there right now, then, you know, we'll often go to the supermarket on our bikes. And at that point, something like this would be really useful. So, yeah, it's a neat little idea, but something I thought was quite cool. Let us know what you think in the comments section. We're going to finish hot tech now with a bit of bike bling jewellery. Got to be done. So the amazingly industrial looking, mega light, super bling Cane Creek EE brakes are now available in a really cool new anodized colour. Check this out. Available in both direct mount and single mount variants and weigh just over 160 grams a pair.
It's now time for Screw Around Upgrades by Upgrades, where you send in upgrades that you've made to your cycling lives or bikes for a chance to win the ultimate prize, a GCN cap. Now this week we actually have two winners because Connor forgot to mention the winner in last week's show. He had one job. We'll let him off though. So this week we have two winners. So the first one is not from last week's show, but the week before, so the last show I did. And the winner was David Thompson's orange mountain bike to gravel bike conversion with 58%. Well done, David. Send us your details on Facebook and we'll get the cap right out to you. And our second winner of this week, and this is from last week's show, was GJ Cycles Colinago Super with 71%. Well done. Make sure you send us your details on Facebook and we'll get the cap right out to you. So this week we have two cracking upgrades. The first one in is from Tom Warren 30. Being stuck indoors, I thought it would be the ideal time to start a new project. Sorting this old steel bike from eBay, I stripped it and power coated it. Keeping with the French Peugeot, new decals and Dura-Ace 7800 components, my new cafe ride is complete. I do like these retro bikes. I've always said I wanted to do up one and I never have. Maybe I'll get around to it sometime soon, but very good. Let's see who he's up against. E.T. Keeney. He found a 2016 felt Z75 disc frame set with a couple of accessories from eBay for $300. He's upgraded it. He has got some really nice kit on there. He's got SRAM Force crank with a Quark power meter, SRAM Red 5036 chainring, even got a gold chain. Can I fist bump in upgrades? I'm going to do it anyway, it's gold chain. SRAM Force 22 front derailleur, rear derailleur, SRAM rival shifters and calipers, a zip 60mm stem, carbon aero bars, physique tempo, saddle, Vision Metron disc rear wheel that he found on eBay and a front felt wheel. Look Keo 2 Max carbon pedals. Got some very nice kit on that and I have to say it looks pretty good. I've graded it from a flat straight bar to a drop handlebar with some top of the range pieces of kit. Very nice. It's a very good upgrade. I'm not sure who's the winner though. Two different upgrades, but both very good. It's not up to me, it's up to you guys. Head over to the GCN app and get voting on who's got the best upgrade and who is gonna win that GCN cap. Find out next week. It's time for the bike vault, where you send in pictures of your lovely bikes and I judge if they're nice or super nice. And if they're super nice, the bike vault bell gets rung and they get put into the bike vault forever and ever and ever. And of course, if you do disagree with my judgments, you can have your very own say by voting in the GCN app. Right, let's see who we've got first. The first one is in from Kay Shahonchik. with a Specialized S-Works Venge. We all know I'm a sucker for matte black, but wow, this is matte blacked out. Black handlebar tape, black saddle, even the bottles are matching and black. The valves are lined up or in Biggie Smalls. Imagine it had a gold chain though, just saying. This ticks all the boxes. We're in Biggie Smalls too. Very nice bits of kit on there too. I know it's only the first bike, but I think this is super nice. It's going in the bike vault. Right, next up, this one in from Alexander with a very nice retro Colinago from 2008. Look at the spokes on that, flat spokes, I like them. Biggie Smalls, the valves are lined up. This is, oh, I do like retro bikes, like I said in the bike upgrades. We have got a tiny bit of a chimney, but I think that amount of chimney is absolutely fine. I can let that go. This is, it's gonna be a super nice one. I know that's two bikes. We're only 2 bikes in and they both got super nice. But I think they are super nice. I'm not just being soft, they are super nice. Next up, we have this one in from Maiden, and it is a giant TCR with Ultegra from this year. This looks box fresh. This looks like a fresh bike. And again, all matte black. I think for me, this is just a nice, it just doesn't quite do it for me. I'm sorry. It's nice. Next up, we have GC49er with this blue Axino from Blue with Boyd carbon wheels, Shimano Ultegra. Right, absolutely stunning view. That is beautiful. But there's nothing I can do about this bike because it is the wrong way around. Absolutely nothing. I can see it's not in Biggie Smalls, the cranks aren't lined up. But you need to ride back to that exact location, turn the bike around, get everything lined up. We want Biggie Smalls, we want the valves lined up, we want the works. Then take a nice picture, upload it to the GCN app. It might get super nice next time. The last bike in the bike vault this week is a Cervelo S5 with a very funky background. Now that background does go very nice with a matte black bike, I must say. But unfortunately, it's not about the background, it's about the bike. So, oh gee, we're not in Biggie Smalls. Our valves aren't really lined up at all. This bike would have been so good if it was Biggie Smalls, valve lined up, the crank's in the right place, at least the crank's in the right place. That is just a nice for me, but that's it for the bike vault this week. Make sure you head over to the GCN app and get voting on all of these bikes.
That's the end of this week's show. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, then please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and share it with your friends. And for those of you who are interested in my series on my TT bike build on a budget, well, I'm working on it right now, so I've got some tri-bars ready to go and some other bits. So stay tuned for that, it'll be coming out soon. And if you'd like to support the channel, well, head over to shop.global cycling network, as the Castelli kit, I think, should be coming into stock right about now. There's a bit of a delay because of the virus and all that stuff. But yeah, those of you who placed pre-orders, I think it shouldn't be too long now. And well, others won't need to place pre-orders because I think it should just be available soon. But yeah, check that. I mean, if you order it, you'll probably still get it before Si anyway.